The stranger in the snow. The wind howled like a beast across the plains, clawing at the walls of Clara Winton's small log cabin. Snow pressed hard against the window panes, and the fire inside crackled weakly, a fragile defense against the bitter cold. Clara sat close to it, mending a torn shawl with steady hands that had learned to live in silence. A year had passed since her husband, Samuel, vanished during a raid near the river border. No word had come since, only silence and the pity of neighbors. Outside, the storm thickened until the world became nothing but white and shadow. Clara rose to latch the door, but through the wind's moan came another sound, a cry, faint and human. Her heart jumped. She hesitated, her breath clouding the glass. Again it came, weaker now, carried by the storm. Without thinking, she wrapped herself in her cloak, grabbed a lantern, and stepped into the blizzard. The cold struck her like a hammer. Snow rose to her knees as she pushed forward, the lantern's glow trembling in her gloved hand. "Hello," she shouted. "Is anyone there?" No answer, only wind. Then, by a cluster of trees, she saw a dark shape half buried in the snow. She stumbled closer and gasped. A man lay there, face pale beneath frost, blood crusted along his leg. His clothes were torn, the leather coat stiff with ice. She knelt beside him, her lantern shaking as she checked his pulse. "Weak, but there. Hold on," she whispered. "You'll freeze if I leave you." It took every bit of her strength to drag him back to the cabin. Inside, she rolled him near the hearth and tore the wet fabric from his leg. The wound was deep but clean, no sign of infection. She boiled water, cleaned the gash, and bound it tightly. He stirred once, murmuring incoherently. She gave him broth by spoonfuls until he slept again. By dawn, the storm had eased. Clara sat across from the stranger, exhaustion blurring her thoughts. His face was lean and sun-weathered, the sort of face that carried too many miles behind it. His hair, dark and long, clung to his temples. There was something peaceful in his unconscious expression, something that reminded her uncomfortably of Samuel. The same quiet strength, the same restlessness beneath the surface. When he finally woke, his voice was rough from cold. "Where am I?" "My cabin," Clara replied, setting aside her needle. "You were lying half dead in the snow. I couldn't leave you there." He tried to rise, grimaced, and sank back. "Then I owe you my life." "You owe me nothing," she said quietly. "Just rest." He studied her for a moment, as though uncertain whether to thank or fear.